Do I expect auction sales prices to continue downward for the rest of the year? I absolutely do. The one wrench that I can see in this and how I could be very wrong about this is that we have new car manufacturers that aren't moving a lot of metal right now. See, we had a bunch of pull forward in demand early summer, people trying to get ahead of tariffs. Tariffs happen, they're here, and now you have all these people that bought that traded in their old cars to get ahead of this. Well, now they're not buying, and then we have this vacuum of sales that should have happened throughout the course of the end of summer, and they're just not materializing. And you're seeing a lot of these franchise dealers now. They're bringing in fewer trade-ins. So even though the market's slower, even on the used car side, even me as a car dealer sells $5,000 and under, we've been slower. But even if you have this lack of demand from the dealer buy side, you can still have fewer vehicles that are making their way to auction because the trade-ins just aren't coming into the system. And that is the thing that could make prices stay stubbornly high, even though the market is still slow, because if you just don't have supply, you still have car dealers like me. They're still trying to get cars to keep their lot somewhat full. And when that happens, then you have more demand from buyers like me, even though on the other side of it, we're not selling all that many more cars, but you have a need for those cars on these the dealer lots, but you just don't have the trade-ins coming in. It can be a big time problem. This is what we it's a very similar thing to what we experienced during COVID. Now, we were busy, so you threw in the added side of, okay, supply's down, but the demand's up. But you can even have a situation where it can get a little bit worse than that as some of these new car sales continue to get slower. So that's the only caveat to this. But what I think is going to happen is that new car sales are going to pretty much flatten, stagnate at best, but we're not going to get a lot less supply than we're already receiving right now. So prices, as things continue to become slower and towards the end of the year, they will. That's just how the car market really operates. Springtime for used car dealers, very, very busy. Right around now, we should be picking up just a little bit, but there's no big whoosh in demand that I see happening. So what I see is wholesale prices continue to get worse, and then we'll be back to the races again, spring selling season of next year. But until then, I think we just continue on this downtrend that we've been experiencing over the last year and a half or so, and I think prices should still continue to get weaker than what they are right now, just because it's still overpriced for almost everything across the board. Now, I mean, EVs are a different discussion, but that's a whole market all to itself. Asking about minivans and what's the best one to buy. Well, first you want to go look at reliability. If you have a lot of bad luck buying used vehicles in the past, then you're probably buying the wrong kind of brands. You're probably buying from the wrong sources. You're probably not getting these things checked out before you actually purchase them. I'll go back to what I've said a lot, and that's I want to stick with Honda. I want to stick with Toyota if I'm worried about reliability, if I'm worried about longevity, things like that. So you're looking at a Honda Odyssey, you're looking at a Toyota Sienna. Now, even within those most reliable brands, you can still buy. They still had years where they weren't good. For a Honda Odyssey, I can't remember what year they changed the body style. It was either 2006 or 2007. But they went from like this boxy kind of style to a more rounded kind of style. But the boxy kind of style that was like pre 2005 and younger, or 2006 and younger, those transmissions were absolute garbage. So even when you're looking at these really reliable brands, they can still have specific models within those vehicles that I'm talking about that they didn't do well. And those transmissions on those Odysseys were absolutely garbage. So if you can narrow it down to at least a couple brands that you like, Toyota, Honda, and then Honda over that certain year range, then you can start looking at the types of mileage, the types of price range that you're looking at. And then when you narrow that down, you can go and do your research of where you should buy. Now, I don't want you ever to buy from a dealer. Now, if you have to go the route of financing a vehicle, I understand. I'm not going to ever buy a car that I don't pay cash for. But I understand that you might be in a situation where you have to make payments. That's absolutely fine. So you want to know where is going to be the best place for you to buy that car. And I don't care if you're buying from me as a used car dealer, if you're buying from your mom, if you're buying from someone that you've known your entire life. Before you go and try to even look for this van, I want you to go and look for a good mechanic. And that's going to eliminate 90% of the problems that you're going to run across in this car if you can have it checked out by somebody that knows what they're looking at before you actually purchase it. So find that vehicle that you want in the price range you want, from whoever you're buying it, and then make sure that you can get an appointment to take that vehicle that you're looking at to that mechanic before you actually buy it. And if it's a dealer that won't allow you to do that, move on to the next dealer. It doesn't matter. They made hundreds of thousands of these things that you're looking at. You can go find another one. Go find another dealer that has the same kind of vehicle and go get it checked out by a mechanic. Mechanic can put it up on a lift. They can drive it around for you. They can listen for the things that they know that they need to listen for. And just by doing that, you're going to eliminate a lot of the question marks that go along with buying a used vehicle. I won't say they're not going to catch everything. You can still have a transmission that falls out of a car 3 months after you buy it. That can absolutely happen. It's a used vehicle. Something's going to break on it. But you can know more about the condition of the vehicle as it sits presently if you get it checked out before you buy it. And that's my biggest information. That's my biggest recommendation to you. If you've had bad luck buying used vehicles before, I would assume it's because you're not getting them checked out before you actually purchase them.
And this is just another comment from Jesse. I still have a car for now. I'm just going to need a bigger one soon. And it's fantastic for you not to wait until you're desperate to get one. When you've got time to be able to look for one, you open up your options and you minimize your risk by spending that time researching and figuring out the best thing to do. So you're on the right track. It doesn't mean you can't have bad luck, but you're on the right track and you can cover a lot of things and get out of some situations like that. I have a 2019 Ford Raptor, 24,000 miles. Dealer buy quote is 50,000. I purchased it new at 75. Do you see used car prices falling in the next 6 to 12 months, or will it stay the same, increase over pandemic prices?
I think used car prices will drop throughout the end of this year. So used car prices are a little bit different than new car prices. There's busy times, there's slow times, but where like MSRPs aren't going to move throughout the course of the year, your negotiability on the new car side will go up and down. But for used cars, you can actually see prices go up and down because small dealers like myself will move cars up, we'll move them down. Even franchise dealers will move their used car prices, but MSRPs, manufacturers, there's rare occurrences where new car manufacturers will increase prices or lower prices, but it's very, very, very rare. But for used cars, the best time of year to buy a used car is at the end of the year. So that means that should tell you that used car prices are going to be the lowest that they're going to be all year round around the holidays. You think Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then like in the beginning of January, first of the year. So that segment of the year is when you can get the best deal. So from this question, well, I'll say over the next 6 months, yes, prices will go down through the end of the year just because used car dealers and used car sales will be slower. Now that's the inverse on the new car side. New car dealers are actually the busiest that they'll be all year right at the end of the year. That's when most incentives and a lot of these end of the year goals start to tick up and put a little pressure on these new car dealers. I'm assuming you're asking me this because you're trying to get out of this car. And I'll say if you have a 2019 and you paid $75,000 for it, you drove it for 6 years, put 24,000 miles on it, and you can sell it for $50K, I'm probably getting rid of it. I think you drove $25,000 worth out of it in the last 6 years. And I don't understand owning a $75,000 truck anyway. Right now you own a $50,000 truck. That doesn't compute. I sell cars that are $5,000 and under. This is the wrong question to ask me because that doesn't compute with my head. I'm never going to own and drive a truck that costs $75,000. I don't care how much money I have.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised by that, I guess. We haven't talked about you getting an expensive truck, but
I'll like $20,000 truck. I can be just fine with that. That GMC Sierra I had that I paid 20 grand for. That was the nicest truck that I've ever had, and I was completely fine with it, and I was happy with it. I love that truck.
well, I mean, that's accurate.
Yeah, I can be happy with that. That's fine. Yeah, I can't. It would make me sick to drive a $75,000 truck. I think. All right, pull it up. We're gonna talk about this right now.
All right, we need to have a conversation.
So I've always been when I do these lives, when I do videos, and I get super chats. This is a super chat. What's on the screen right now? Greg sent me $5. I've always said don't send me any money, but here's the thing: I just started playing golf again after a long time.
You can't do this.
And I've been going through a lot of golf balls, and golf balls are very expensive. And so I think I'm going to take away my rhetoric of not asking for money and start a golf ball fund. And it just started with Greg.
No, take that back.
No. We're not going to do that. Please don't give us any money. But
and just so you know, we have hundreds of golf balls.
I know, but we don't have the ones that I want. The Titleist Pro V ones are like $4 a ball, and I can't bring myself to pay that much for a golf ball. But with Greg's help,
All right.
Yeah. Don't send us any money. We appreciate it. I don't want your money. You keep your money. I'm just trying to give you advice for free here. And if you want to watch an ad while one of our videos pops up, then I promise you that pays us.